Alright, students, so I am waiting on a few more persons to join. Alright, so if we have one more person, we can begin. So we are continuing from this morning where we have been looking at the CXC broad topics that were released recently. Right? So we have looked at a number of topics this morning and we are back now. So we are going to continue with I think it's the institutions. Yes, so we're going to continue to look at institutions for this session. So remember that we are looking at the topics that were released on the broad list by CXC, and we are also using the Social Studies syllabus as a guide. All right, so we're going to begin now. Can't wait anymore. So we are looking at the topic of institutions, right? And the first thing we need to do is to define the term institution. What is an institution? When you hear the term institution, what comes to mind? All right, so when you hear the word, would you be going through the social topics? Miss Brady, I think we looked at some topics this morning. We looked at the role of family members. We also looked at social issues affecting Caribbean families. We have looked at group cohesion. We also looked at cultural diversity. And now we are looking at institutions. So when you hear the term institution or Germain, an organization, good afternoon, Miss Gray, welcome back. Anybody else? What do you think institution is? Anybody else? It is an institution. Jermaine said that it's an organization. All right, since somebody's going to answer. When we talk about institution, we are referring to an organization or established organization that meets particular needs of society, right? So any organization that meets particular needs of society, we refers to that organization as an institution. Now, in order for an organization to be classified as an institution, there are certain characteristics that must be present, right? So, if CXC should ask you, what are some of the characteristics of an institution? These are some of the characteristics that you can write. Oh, I forget to tell you, students, to get your notebook and your pen so that you can take little notes. All right. So, as I was saying before, now, in order for an organization to be classified as an institution, there are certain characteristics that must be present. Right. First, it must have organization must have a structure, an organizational structure. For example, in a school, the organizational structure would be at the top, we have the chairman. Next, we have the principal, then we have the vice principal, then we have the teachers, we might have the dean, then the guidance and then the guidance counselors, then we might have the students, right? So every organization must have an organizational structure. In order for an organization to be classified as an institution, it must be able to endure over time, meaning that when your children, when your children, the organization must be there still. When your children give you grandchildren, it must be there. 50 years from now, that organization must exist, right? So, in order for an organization to be classified as an institution, it must be able to endure over time. For example, a school. I have been to a school, my children are going to school, and my children get older. My grandchildren will be going to the school. Their children will be going to the school because a school will still be there. So once it's able to endure over time, it can be classified as an institution. In order for an organization to be classified as an institution, there must be rules and sanctions. And I always tell my students, once you see the term, let me ask you, when I say sanctions, what comes to mind? So, in order for an institution or an organization to be classified as an institution, there must be rules and sanctions. All right, I'm not seeing anyone answering. However, when we talk about sanctions, we're referring to punishments, right? And so there must be rules and there must be punishment. If you're in the CXC examination and you see the term sanction, you know that they are talking about punishment, rules and punishment. All right. Thank you very much, Miss Gray. Like up the like everybody. Oh, thank you, Jermaine. So Jermaine is saying that everybody should like up the live. All right. Thank you. Another characteristics of an institution. So, in order for an organization to be classified as an institution, it must be able to serve particular needs of society. And we are going to look more in depth on that as we go along. Now that we have established what an institution is, very good, Karine, penalties. So, as I said before, if you see the word sanction, it can mean punishment, it can mean penalties. All right. Based on what you have learned in your classes, what are the different types of institutions? There are different types of institutions. So more people can see the live. Okay, thank you, Jermaine. It's my first time doing a live. So Jermaine is saying that I should ask you guys to like the live so that more persons can see the live. All right, students, thank you. So, school, Miss Gray, school would be an example of a particular institution. Good afternoon, students. So think again, Miss Gray. There are about five different institutions. What are they? No, Chris, Norm, no. Yes, I'm seeing Arati saying educational institution. Thank you very much. That is correct. So, Miss Gray, school would be an example of an educational institution. I am seeing economic institution. Very good. Miss Gray, again, credit union would be an example of an economic institution. Government, correct. Family, religious institution. All right, so you guys are correct. You have an idea of what I'm talking about. So, for notes purpose, the different types of institutions are we have economic institution, educational institution, we have religious institution, we also have recreational institution, and we have political institution. Thank you very much, Ms. Nelson. Political institution. Okay, Ms. Nelson, very good. Political, educational, and religious institutions. All right, now, just in case CXC asks you to write or to state the functions, yes, Miss Nelson, that's very correct. Economic as well. Very good. Just in case CXC asks you to state the functions of, say, an educational institution, what would you write? The teacher never teach you about institution and you see the question on the CXC paper. State the functions of an educational institution. What would you write? And I must apologize for my background. I am at work and there are persons in the staff room, so my background might be a little noisy. All right, students. You have never been taught about institution and you are seeing the question on the social studies paper asking you to state the functions of an educational institution. Okay, Miss Gray. Yes, I was telling you that the institution, Miss Gray, is educational institution. However, school would be an example of an educational institution. All right. Now, what is or what are the functions of an educational institution? And as Miss Gray says, the school, let us use the school as an example of educational institution. What would be some of the functions of a school? All right, Miss Nelson is saying educational institution is responsible for the systematic of knowledge and skills. Okay, all right, so that's correct. Educational institutions, they pass on skills and knowledge to students that will assist them in branching out in society. To provide knowledge, yes, learning for every child in school. So both the persons are saying the same thing. Anybody else? You have never been taught about institution, and CX is asking you to state the functions of an educational institution. And you do not want to welcome back. You do not want to miss the opportunity of getting the full mark for this question. So what would you write? Apart from imparting knowledge to students, what is another function of the school? So Vivek, we are looking at educational institution and we are using the school as an example. What do you think are some of the functions of an educational institution? Jermaine is saying cultural and values. So I guess he's saying the school transmits cultural German must be saying the school transmit values to students, and these values, I guess, will assist them in branching out in society. For example, the school teaches the students how to be punctual. So you have to be punctual for school. You have to learn how to follow rules when you're at school. You have to learn how to be disciplined when you are at school, right? So all these values will prepare you whenever you become an adult and you have to branch out into society. Very good, Miss Gray. The school prepares students for the world of work. Yes. And how does the school prepare students for the world of work? By imparting knowledge about skill training or helping students to do their CSEC subjects so that they will be qualified to get a job whenever they leave school. Yes, the school is a socializing agent. Yes, because there are some students that were not properly socialized during their family, even though the family is considered to be the first agent of socialization. So when they come to school, the school now has to ensure that they impart knowledge to them, um, values, principles, interacting with other persons in society that will also help with their upbringing. Because there are many students, they have never been properly socialized by their family at an early age. So coming to school, the school has to take up that responsibility of socializing them. The school is where persons from different ages gain an education. All right. Not only that you gain an education at school, but the school prepares students with attitudes and values that are needed in society, that will be needed in the workplace. So if you want to behave professionally in a workplace, it starts in the school. Being professional at school means that you have to be punctual, you have to attire yourself neatly, right? You have to display certain moral values, principles that will prepare you for the world of work. All right. Anybody have anything else? Is there persons from different? Oh, I read that already. No. What are some of the functions of? Let us look at the religious institution. Just in case we're not sure which institution CXC will be focusing on, so it is best that we look at the functions of the different institutions. What are some of the functions of our religious institutions? You are in CXC and they're asking you about the functions of a religious institution. What will you write? Do you want me to give you the first one? All right, so religious institution, okay, provide guidance to its members, all right. Especially, let me speak about there are certain religions that uses their sacred writing or their sacred texts to provide guidance to its members in terms of how they go through life, how to cope with life's problem, etc. Religion, 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 or religious institutions also give members a sense of identity. What are the functions? Listeners, what are the functions of religious institutions? So religious institutions, they provide members with a sense of identity and belonging. And again, the sacred text or the sacred writing of each religion is used to give members this belonging. They speaks, for example, in Christianity, Their sacred texts speak about members being royal priesthood, right? Being created by God in His own image. You're beautiful and all of that. So it gives you a sense of identity, it gives you a sense of belonging. It provides guidance and counseling. It provides members with a sense of identity and belonging, right? It provides answers. Yes, religion provides answers to life's problem. So you might be going through a particular issue in your life. You can turn to your whatever religion you belong to. You can turn to your sacred text or your sacred writing to find answers to those issues that you're going through. All right? So you're on the right track. Provides guidance and counseling. It can also assist in social control. Very good. Because when you are a part of a religion, again, their sacred text or their sacred writing teaches you how to behave. It teaches you how to conduct yourself, not only when you're attending the particular religious institution, but you'll carry those same principles when you go out into society, when you go to school, when you're at home. You will carry those same principles that were taught in your religious institutions. So it helps to control certain behaviors in society. And that I must mention also the moral values that are taught in the different religions, right? You can apply these moral values also to your daily lives. Provides direction and focus for life journey. Very good. Now let us look at. I'm going to look at one more functions. Moral values. Very good. What do you think are some of the functions of an economic institution? Let's look at the trade union as an example of an economic institution. What do you think are some of the functions of a trade union? So we're looking at economic institution and their functions. What do you think are some of the economic functions of a trade union? And remember that a trade union is an example of an economic institution. Provides skills training, economic institution, accept money on deposit, yes. So if you want to deposit your money for saving, you can um, visit an economic institution that will assist you with that. To obtain and maintain just and proper wages, all right, trade union. No, Lorraine, let me rephrase that, Lorraine. Lorraine, all right, I have that one. Yes, I have that one also written down, Lorraine, to obtain and maintain just and proper wages. That is one of the answers that I have written down also. Very good. It helps employees to get good wages and benefits. All right, so those answers are very correct. So we can move on from institutions because I can see that you are well versed when it comes on to that topic. Is there anything on institution that anybody want to ask or anything else that you think I should look at of loans to entrepreneurs? All right. I'll add that one to my list of answers. Is there anything else that we should look at? Yes. Economic unit also help young people start saving early. Economic institutions also offer financial advice to their customers. So, for example, you want to join the commercial bank, but you're not sure of the procedure. You want to do some future savings to buy a house, but you're not sure which saving account you should invest in. Your Commercial bank can provide you with advice so that you can make the right decision. Now, another topic on the broad list is that of what about grant for starting a business? Yes. So commercial banks, they also offer loans or grants for starting businesses. All right. So the next topic, what about, all right. Let me look at the next topic on the broad list. I think it is voters' participation. Okay, so the next topic, if you have your list in front of you, the broad list of topics, we are now at number 6, factors that influence voter participation. So if you're taking notes, you can write the topic, factors that influence voters' participation. All right, you must have written it already. So election time is around. For example, say it's election time. Election is in the year, and there are many factors that influences which party or which candidate a voter will cast the vote for, right? Now I want you to think about it. Again, your teacher have never taught you the topic of voter participation in an election. And this question is valued 6 marks. You're in the examination, you do not want to miss that 6 marks, right? So you're going to use your common sense, previous knowledge to answer this question. What are some of the factors that influences voters' participation in an election? Or imagine that you are a floating voter. You're a floating voter. You do not know which party you are voting for, right? What are some of the things that would influence your decision to go out and vote for a particular party? All right, campaign. Very good. I'm seeing, oh my God, it's the same answers that I have. I have campaign issues. So when parties are campaigning, the things that they talk about, the presentations that they make, how they present their manifesto during their campaign, how they present their candidates would influence a voters' participation in the election. I am seeing, what is that? Education, yes. The more educated voters are about the election process, that will push them or influence them to participate in the election. So education is in another factor. I am seeing media coverage. All right. When it's election time, a lot of advertisement, there's a lot of media coverage on the television, on the radio, in the newspaper, etc. So depending on the information that is presented by the different media houses, that will indeed influence a voter, especially a floating voter, to go out and participate in the election process. I am seeing house visits, all right, that will come under campaign issues. So one method of campaigning that is used by political parties to get voters to vote is house visits. So if you live in a community and there are 3 parties contesting the election, however, you only see one party coming around with their members in the community, visiting house to house, talking with citizens, that will influence your participation in the election because you'll want to go out and vote for that party, right? Because you're going to say yes, at least you're going around and interacting with with citizens, so that will want to influence your participation to go out and vote in the election. the plans the candidates have for the voters. And I want somebody to tell me, I want one of my bright students to tell me the plan that the candidates or the party have for the voters is called what? There's a term that you use for that. What is that term? The plans the candidates have or the party have for the voters is called, or the plan is outlined in what? There's a document. Okay, very good, Miss Gray. The manifesto. The manifesto is an important document that parties spend time preparing whenever it comes on to election, because the manifesto contains all the plans that the party will implement once they have won the election. So if you can present that manifesto to citizens, right? If you can persuade citizens using your manifesto that if we win the election, this is what we will do, it is definitely sure that you will get voters to participate in the election by coming out to vote for your party. All right, thank you. Giving the people what they need. Hmm. Jermaine, what do you mean by that? Giving the people what they need. Another factor that will influence voters' participation in an election, you can add this one to your list, is the voter's age. Anybody knows at what age you're eligible to vote? At what age are you eligible to vote? So voters' age is important. It's another factor that influences a person's or voter participation in an election. 18. So very good. So once you are below that age, you cannot participate in an election. So the voters' age is important. Income too. Why do you say income is a factor? Why do you say income is one of the factor? What about family traditions? Family traditions and voters' loyalty. So, if you come from a family where the tradition is, or the loyalty of that family goes towards a particular party or a particular candidate, that will definitely influence your participation in the election, right? So if your party is a diehard MMP, for example, or SST, they are directed to that, loyal to that party, it is sure that they will go out and participate in the election. All right, so you have about 6 factors that can influence a voter's participation in an election. And remember, I am following the broad list of topics that were released by CHC. So if you see me don't touch on certain topics, it's because I'm following the list. However, if you have a topic that you want us to discuss that is not on the broad list, you can post it. All right. So are there any questions so far? Are we moving too fast? Anybody have any question? I said that because if you have a business and you need something done, you will donate to the party. You donate to the party so laws can pass to support what you want. Mm. Well, um, I do not know how legal that is. I said that because if you have a business and you need something done, you will donate to the party so laws can be passed. I am not sure if that is a legal way of influencing voters' participation, unless I'm misunderstanding what you are saying. But what you could do is state your idea or your concerns or your interests about any particular bill or laws that you would like to be passed in parliament to your political representative, and they will discuss that with their party members. Miss, when again you'll be on? I am at work. Oh, um, I'll post it in the community feed because I'm not sure. Today we are having boys day at work, so I'm just using the time to do the live. I'll try and do one tomorrow also. I'm not sure, but I'll post it in the community feed. A marathon video. All right, I'll think about it where we can do some past paper questions. I'll think about it. All right, so the next topic is that of resources. Now, when we talk about resources, we're talking about anything that is used to meet the needs of people or the needs of humans, right? And we know that there are many resources in the Caribbean. Mm? Yes, there are many resources in the Caribbean which can be harnessed to create wealth, mhm, or to improve the standard of living of people of the Caribbean. I'm not going to look at the examples of the resources as yet. However, based on your different classes that you have been attending, I want you to tell me what are the two types of resources. Students, remember to like the video, like this live, that it can reach more students. What are the two types of resources? And resource question, they always come on the paper. There is a section on paper 2 for resource. If you have seen the different past paper questions, this is the one tomorrow. Man-made resource. Hmm. No, Miss Gray. Non-renewable and renewable resource. No, no, Miss Nelson. There are two types of resource. I'm seeing where Miss Gray is saying natural, yes. Jermaine is saying human and physical. Thank you. That is correct. So renewable and non-renewable. No, Miss Bailey. Physical resource. That's one, Miss Nelson. Human resource and natural resource. Thank you, Vivette. Lorraine, human and physical resource. Very good. That's the answer. So the two types, for those of you who are taking notes, it is important that you write this down. The two types of resource are human resource or physical resource. Another name for physical resource is natural resource. So if you see on your CSEC paper where they have human resource and natural resource, they are talking about human resource and physical resource. It's the same thing. Another name for physical resource is natural resource. So the two types of resources are physical resource and human resource. Now, let us start with the human resource. What comes to mind, or what do you remember about human resource? Yes, you are correct. What comes to mind when you hear human resource? Labor, all right. Mm, halfway. What comes to mind? You're in the CXA exam, they're asking you to define the term human resource. What is your definition? The skill and the talents, German incomplete. The skill and the talents of what? Of who? Incomplete, German. We have to practice answering the questions correctly from now, because this is the same way that you'll write your answers in the exam and you're going to pick up some half marks when you could have get the full mark, right? So what is human resource? All right, while you're on, students, remember to like this, like the live, the skills and talents of the population. All right, thank you, Jermaine. Anybody else? What is human resource? Anybody else? Nobody else knows. Lorraine is saying the skill, talents, and abilities which individual possesses. Correct. Vivette is saying the human resources are the skills and labor of a person. All right. All right, since nobody else have an answer, when we talk about human resource, right? Human resource includes the skills, the talents, and the abilities which individuals possess. So all of us are born with a particular skill, a talent, right? And a variety. There are different human resources in the Caribbean. Let me not give you an example. I was going to say the example of the different human resources, but let me ask you, because you have been in the different classes and you have learned about human resource. So if I'm telling you that human resource includes the skill, the talent, the abilities of individuals, and I also said that there are many human resources in the Caribbean, right? Give me an example of a human resource in the Caribbean. Give me an example of a human resource in the Caribbean. Teachers and doctors, thank you, Lorraine. You are very correct. Anybody else know any other human resource in the Caribbean? Poets, thank you, Jermaine. You guys are learning. I know that you're going to get a grade 1 in your exam. This shows that you are learning and your preparation is going well. You could also have farmers, artists, lawyers, teachers, doctors, whatever profession that you can think about. It is classified legal professions. That is, it is classified as fishermen. Very good. It is classified as human resource. Now, why do you think that human resource are important to the Caribbean? What's the importance of human resource? Why do we need doctors? Why do we need the fishermen? Why do we need the teachers? Why do we need the lawyers? Why do we need the taximen? Why are human resource important? Electrician, very good. But why do we need human resource? Why are they important? Yes, worker, workforce to pay tax. All right, so they contribute to taxes of a country which we need to develop the country. The hairdresser, very good. Anybody else? Why do we need human resource? Why do we need the hairdresser? Why do we need the dressmaker? Why do we need the nail technicians? Why do we need the poets, the fishermen, the teachers, the doctors? Why are they important? Mm-hmm. Anybody? Why do we need these professions that we classified as human resource? Miss Gray, I'll give you an half mark for that. What do you mean by development? Write in complete sentence, Miss Gray, just like as all you're going to answer on your CXC exam. Michael is saying that human resources are important because they contribute to economic development of a country. Yes. Also, to please the needs of others. All right, all right, Miss Gray. But I would write to solve problems. Good day, Jordan. To solve problems, human resource are important because they help to solve problems. If we're having a, say for example, a disease outbreak, we need the scientists to do their tests to find out what is causing the disease and solutions to solving the disease. If we're having food shortage, we need the farmers to solve that problem, to plant more crops. Human resource help to maintain and improve the standard of living, yes, for the development of our region. Very good. But most importantly, as I said before, you cannot go wrong with this reason to help to solve problems. If you're having human resources are important for the development of our region. All right, very good. So those reasons are correct. You are correct. You can just add this one to it to help to solve problems. All right. Now, there are. Is there anything anybody want to ask to maintain the economy of a country? Yes. There's one that I'm not hearing. There's an answer that I'm not hearing. Why do we need human resource? This is another one that you can add to your answers. Human resource, right? The skills and the abilities of our people. The skills can be used to, yes, welcome Jordan. The skills and the talents that humans possess can be used to harness physical resources and convert them into useful products. Think about it. So if you are a dressmaker by profession, you can use the raw material to convert it, sew them into clothing, pieces of clothing that can be sold to other to customers. So you are using your ability to create clothes or to make clothes to harness a raw material into a useful products that humans can use. What do you think? Yeah. So you can add that something you have to think outside of the box, right? You can have that as one of your answers if you should see that question. So the question is, Miss Fagan, how can you use no, what is the importance of human resource? Why is human resource important? So, your fellow classmates have given me a number of answers, but I'm also saying that you could add these two to your answers. Human resource is important because they help to solve problems. And I was giving the example that if you're having food shortage, right? Say we are having food shortage in a particular Caribbean country, we can harness the ability and the talents of our farmers to plant more food items to help to alleviate this problem, right? If you're having a disease outbreak in a particular country, we can harness the skills and the talents of the scientists to find out, do their tests to find out what is causing the disease and how it can be solved. So those are just two reasons that you can add to your answers that you have given already as to why human resource is important. All right. Now, how can we develop human resource? We know that all of us, we are born with skills, we are born with talents, we are born with abilities. How can we develop those skills, the talents, and the abilities of humans? You're in the exam and CXC is asking you to write three ways that the skills and the talents and the abilities of humans can be developed. Or to rephrase the question, write three ways in which a country can develop its human resource. Anybody? What are three ways that a country can develop its human resource? Provide training, you are correct. So yes. So countries can invest in the different training centers or schools that vocational schools that deals with training to help to develop that resort that ability, that skill that a person has. So if you love cooking, right? You are good with in the kitchen, you're good at cooking. You can go to a training center in Jamaica. We have the Archos NTA and we have some high schools that provides training to students that will assist them in developing their skills. So you could go to a training school, right? And develop that skill of cooking. And who to tell you, you may be the best chef in the world, right? Jermaine is saying school. Jermaine is saying what? School institution? What do you mean, Jermaine? Come, Jermaine, you're giving me some off mark answers, and I need you to expand more. You're saying school. Come, Jermaine, practice how to answer your questions from now so that you can get your full marks. So the question is, how can a country develop its human resource? Jermaine is saying school. Can somebody help him to provide a justification for that answer? How can the school develop human resource? How can the school develop its human resource? All right, nobody wants to answer. Nobody not answering. All right, so if a student, all right, it's great. So if a student comes to a school and from early the teachers recognize that the student can really join up, is good, it's good. There's a potential for him to become an artist, right? The school taps into that potential, that talent, that ability that that student has. The first thing the school does, is to recognize that the child can draw, right? And once you recognize that the child has a potential to become an artist, right, you would help to develop that skill, right? So you'll tell them, all right, it is best that you do technical drawing, or it is best that you be a part, pay attention in your maths class. It is best that you pay attention in the construction class because you are good at drawing, or you are good, you have the potential to become an artist. So the school tap into that ability, that talent that that child has, and help them to develop that talent. And look here, not only develop it, but it also help that child, prepare that child to become a productive member of society, because you are helping them now to develop a career that will that they will benefit from when they become an adult and be a productive member of society, contributing to the development of their country. One son going to college, becoming a teacher. Yes, so if you, some persons have talents where they're good at imparting knowledge. They are good with children, right? When you look at them, how they interact with children, you say, yes, man, this one can become a teacher, right? So you develop that in that you tap into that resource of that skill, that talent that that student has, and you guide them along the right path. It is best for you to do certain subjects, right? It's best for you to do so and so. That will help to develop your talent, your love for children, your love of imparting knowledge, and become a future teacher when you become an adult. hmm They need to develop human resource, creative and critical thinking. Very good. Welcome, Geneva. And remember, I'm not sure if you'll get question on this, but since we're on the topic of developing human resource, you must know the different levels of education, right? Ensure that you know the different levels of education. All right, so now that you have looked at the importance of human resource, now what practical things, what practical strategies, actions can the government or the Ministry of Education in each country put in place to help develop those skills of individuals? So we're looking at the government now and the Ministry of Education and the strategies. What strategies, what actions can the government or the Ministry of Education in your country put in place to help to develop the skills and the talents of its people? And this is one of the 6 mark questions I'm asking you, right? So the question is write 3 strategies that the government or the Ministry of Education in your country can put in place to develop the skills and the talents and the abilities of people. Or write 3 strategies that the government or the Ministry of Education in your country can use to develop its human resource. So Jordan, Jenny, Karine is saying develop youth clubs. All right, Karim, I see your answer. I wanted to write a justification for that. Why do you believe that developing youth clubs will help to improve or develop human resource in your country? Jordan is saying government can provide necessary equipment in the clubs, such as police youth club, to help provide skill for persons who have dropped out of school or anyone who cannot afford it. Jordan, I want you to be clear on your answer. What do you mean by necessary equipment? I see what you're saying, but you have to ensure that your answers are clear. What do you mean by necessary equipment? Free training and access to jobs. Very good. So, for countries that has institutions or schools that deals with skill area or training, the government can offer free training to youths so that they can develop their skills and their talents. And not only offering them free training, but they can offer them, I'm not sure if Grace saying free access to jobs, but I'm saying that they could not only free training, they can offer them opportunities to be gainfully employed after training, whether in public or private institutions, so that they can get a job, right, after going through all that training. Free training and access to job in the community, education. All right, Vivek is saying education, and let me read one more. Each talent will be brought out by an individual, and other members who don't have a skill will be taught one. Yes. So the justification is that the youth clubs will help to tap into the skill and the talent of its members, and they can do this by and members who do not have a skill will be taught one. Okay, so if you have a skill already, they will further help you to develop that skill. And for new members who they know that they have little talents and little abilities, but they are not sure what it is as yet, the club can help to bring out that talent, that ability that you have, and also help you to work on developing them, that you can become productive members of society. Somebody saying, Grace saying, by providing free training skills, persons will have the opportunity to develop their skills and therefore have better jobs. Very good. Very good, students. I love your answers. Very good. All right. So now I'm going to give you some other, ensure that you're writing these strategies. I'm now going to give you some other strategies that the Ministry of Education or the government can use to develop human resource in the country. What about providing scholarships? Anybody add that one? Providing scholarships to students. So you realize that there is a youth in your community that is good at a particular skill area, right? You can, but say they are really poor or living below the poverty line, the government can step in and assist that person to develop their human resource by providing a scholarship for them to acquire higher education. So you could also have that one. Provide opportunity for overseas jobs. Well, Gray, I am not sure, which government would want their professionals to just leave and go overseas, right? The government do not want to contribute to brain drain. But what they can do, if you are talking about overseas, is if there are schools or educational facilities overseas that are not present in your country, they could send their workers or the student or the person who they want to assist to develop their talent or skill overseas to a particular school for a period of time. Then they will come back and work in their local country and help to develop it. All right. What about, let me think of another strategy that can be used to develop the human resource. Government can use to develop human resource. All right, another strategy that government can use is providing book grants for students, or not only students, but adults. Anybody that they recognize of a particular skill or talent that they would like to develop, they can provide book grants for them. So maybe there is a youth. Where was I not notified? So maybe welcome. So maybe there's somebody who's going to university, right? They're having challenges, but you know that they have a skill or a talent that will be beneficial to the development of the country. The government can step in by offering book grants to them, giving them money to buy books that will assist them in developing their talent and their skills. They could also offer them free lunch, free meal. So while you're at the university or whatever school you are, they can give you a book grant and they can offer you free meal, right? So at least that expense is lessened, so you can concentrate more on developing your skill and your talent. Anybody else have anything? All right, I'm going to give you one more. Another strategy that the government can use to develop the skills and talents of humans in their country is granting free education. Some of you may say, Miss, the government can provide free education for everybody, but why not do it at the primary level? Start at the primary level. Or if you cannot do it at the primary level, why not do it at the secondary level? Offer students free education that everybody have an equal opportunity to develop their skills and their talents and to become productive members of society. Vivek is saying sports. The question is strategies the government can use to develop human resource sports. All right. Let me try and explain this for Vivek. She's saying sports. She's saying sports, using sports to develop human resource. All right. Let me try and understand what you're saying. So there are some persons that you recognize that they are good at certain sporting activities, right? You have been watching a little boy from his 4 years old playing football, and you say, yes, this one will be a good footballer. He has a talent to become a professional footballer, right? So what the government can do when they recognize or recognize these talents in youths, they can invest in sporting activities from the primary level. Invest in sports in the primary level, so you can groom them coming up, right? Invest in sports at the secondary level, right? So that these students, these youths will be able to earn from sporting activity. So government will be spending less in trying to control crime and violence or trying to control behaviors in society, because in developing sports, they will be preparing these children or youths to become productive members of society. All right, so I'm sure you have enough ways that you can develop human resource. Now, Let us look at, and guess what? That was just one way, no? I'm going to try and, that was just one way. And the first way to develop human resource is education. And all the examples that we've looked at a while ago is example of education. Let me type something in the group. I'm going to type something. So, one way to develop human resource is through education, and we looked at the school and all of that. Now we're going to look at health. Another way to develop human resource is health, and we're going to look at that. You could also have recreation, and we can look at religion. All right, so we looked at education already as a way of developing human resource. Now we're going to look at health. How do you believe? All right, so my background is a little noisy now because the teachers are coming in. All right, I hope that you guys are helping me. No, not helping me. I hope that you guys are hearing me. Oh, the noise is so much. All right, so apart from education, another way to develop the human resource of a country is through health. Now, I'm not sure if your teacher told you that there are different types of healthcare. Because if you have a skill and you have a talent, you're a teacher, you're an engineer, you're a dressmaker, you're a doctor, it is important that you are fit mentally, physically, emotionally, right? Psychologically. So when you think about health, it's not only talking about the physical look of the individual, but you have to ensure that mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, every alley, you are stable, right? So there are two types of healthcare, and I've seen this question on a CHC paper before. Do you remember what? Okay, I'm seeing Geneva. All right, Geneva, you are correct. So even before I could ask the question, the answers are there. All right, so the two types of healthcare are primary healthcare and secondary healthcare. What is another name for primary healthcare? Anybody knows another name for primary healthcare? There are two types of healthcare. I'm seeing Shipiva is saying preventional healthcare. All right, it's not preventional, but it's preventative healthcare. Preventative healthcare. All right, not preventional. So another name for primary healthcare is preventative healthcare. So when you're in CHC, if you're not seeing primary healthcare, but they have preventative healthcare, it's the same thing as primary healthcare. What is another name for secondary healthcare? What is another name for secondary healthcare? So suppose you're in the exam and you are not seeing the term secondary healthcare, curative, or very good. So you're on top of things. Your students are doing well. So another name for the secondary healthcare is curative healthcare. And as I said before, healthcare is important because if you're a teacher, you're a doctor, you're just medical, it is important that your overall well-being is stable so that you can function productively in whatever job you are. All right, curative, very good. Now, I think I'm going to move on to physical resource. We want us to look at physical resource. So I'm finished with I am finished with human resource, and we are now going to. Maybe I should hold on before I move on. Let me look at the broad list again. So the broad list is asking that we looked at human natural resource. All right. So we're going to look at physical resource now. Yes, we did. We looked at the factors influencing voter participation already. I do not want to stray away from the broad topic. I do not want to stray away from the broad topics that CXE have given you. So if you have any question, maybe whenever we are doing the marathon, we can look at some of those topics. Now, physical resource. What are the two types of physical resource? Or even before we look at the type of physical resource, what does the term physical resource means? What does the term physical resource mean? I'm sure a teacher. I've been teaching you about resources. So what are physical resources? During the CHC and you're asked to define the term physical resource. What are physical resource? When we talk about physical resources, what are we talking about? Okay, I'm seeing something from Miss Gray. So physical resource, anything that can be seen and touched. All right, I'll give you a half mark for that. Elizabeth is saying that physical resource are natural resources. Hmm, not really, Elizabeth. Natural resource is just another name for physical resource. So as I said before, if you're in the exam and you're saying physical resource, it is the same thing as natural resource. If CXE uses the term natural resources, it's the same thing as physical resource. Things that you can see and touch, things that you can see, such as water. Off mark, Shanique. Gift of nature. All right, Lorraine. Lorraine has the closest answer to what I'm looking for. Land, water, minerals. No, Jermaine. Jermaine, I'm just asking you for the definition of physical resource. No, Miss Gray, you're giving me examples. I'm just asking for the definition of what are physical resources. So Lorraine is the closest answer so far. All right, so when we talk about physical resources, the simple answer is physical resources are gifts of nature. That is all you need. Let me type it in the chat. Physical resources are gifts of nature. That is the simple definition for what are physical resources. Yes, Geneva. Physical resources are materialistic features of a earth. Yes. So as I always tell my students, physical resources are things that are not man-made. They were created by a supreme being. Right? They were not made by man. So if you're in the exam and they ask you to write a simple definition for 2 marks, what are physical resources? The only thing you need to write is physical resources are gifts of nature. So remember that when you're answering your question, you do so in complete sentence. Now, let me hear the examples of physical resources. So the question is, you're in text and they ask you to state 3 examples of physical resources. All the persons who have been giving me the examples, now you can write them. What are the examples of physical resources? So while you're writing the examples, let me reinforce again that physical resources are gifts of nature and human beings We use these resources, these physical resources, to manufacture a variety of products that are used by humans. I'm seeing water, land, water, sunlight, water, gold, crystals, minerals, petroleum, sunlight, wind, minerals. All right, you are correct. Forests, very good. Trees, that would be forest, Miss Gray. All right, that's it. You guys are correct. So all the examples are there. No, bauxite, land, petroleum. Thank you, Geneva. Now the next question is, what are the two types of physical resource? What are the two types? So there are two types of physical resource. What are they? Thank you very much, Lorraine. Thank you, Geneva. No, Miss Gray. No, Miss Gray. What are the two types of physical resource? So Geneva, Lorraine and Geneva and Miss Gray, Geneva, renewable and non-renewable. Thank you. You're correct. So the two types of physical resources are renewable and non-renewable. All right. So what I'm recognizing is that some persons are confusing the types of resources. If you're in the exam and you are asked, what are the two types of resources? The two types of resources are human resource and physical resource. Another name for physical resource is natural resource. If they ask you, what are the two types of physical resource? The two types of physical resource are renewable resource and non-renewable resource. If they ask you what are the two types of natural resource, it is the same thing that they're asking you for. The answer remains the same, renewable resource and non-renewable resource. When we talk about physical resource and natural resource, we are talking about the gifts of nature, right? Things that persons, humans use to harness into products that are beneficial to them, right? Because I realize that some persons are confusing the type of resources with the type of physical resource. Now, what is a renewable resource? And these questions, I've seen these questions on paper too, and I've also seen them on the multiple choice question. What are the two types of renewable resource? All right, so Chief Kiva is giving me the examples of renewable. All right, we're not there as yet, Kiva. Where I did not ask you for that as yet. What I'm asking you for now, or no, Lorraine, I'm not asking you for the examples as yet. I'm asking you, what does the term renewable resource means? So the two types of physical resource are renewable and non-renewable resource. What does the term, no, Miss Gray, Miss Gray, listen to the question. What does the term renewable resource means? Thank you, Amsterdam. So a renewable resource is anything that can be replenished, it can be reused, it can be reinforced, it can be resupplied, it can be replaced after it has been used. So, any resource after it has been used by humans that can be replenished, that can be reused, that can be resupplied, you call that renewable resource. As the term suggests, renewable resource, anything that can be reused, recycled, replenished, resupplied, any way you want to use, right? Reinforce, it is called a renewable resource. Now, students, now you can give me the examples of renewable resource. What are the examples of renewable resource? Correct. Physical resource, natural resources that can be used. All right, Vivek, it should be reused. Yes. And what are the examples of renewable resource? So Elizabeth is saying water, sunlight, and trees. Correct. Land and forest. Thank you, Jacqueline. You are correct. Lorraine is saying animals and forests. You are correct also. Amsterdam is saying water, sun, and trees. And instead of using trees, you can write forests. Because if you're using the syllabus to guide you, the syllabus speaks about forests. So we have water, we have land, water, trees, and sunlight. You are very much correct. And there are few renewable resources in the Caribbean, so it's easier for you to remember them. So renewable resource examples: land, forest, water, animals, sunlight, etc. Now, what does the term non-renewable resource means? Non-renewable resource. Correct, Jermaine. Wind. What are non-renewable resources? Answer to previous saying non-renewable resources are materials that cannot be reused, resupplied, or reinforced after it has been used. So you're correct. So non-renewable resources would be the opposite of renewable. So it cannot be reused, it cannot be replenished, it cannot be resupplied, it cannot be reinforced after it has been used. All right. Now, what are the examples of non-renewable resources in the Caribbean? Gold, very good, Miss Gray. Anybody else? Examples of non-renewable. Diamond, bauxite and gold. Natural gas, yes. Bauxite, I'm seeing non-renewable resources are those resources that cannot be easily be replenished, or if we replenish will take a plentiful amount of time to regenerate. All right, bauxite, oil, bauxite, petroleum. I'm not seeing petroleum, diamond, gold. All of those are examples of non-renewable resource. All right. So for those of you who have been confusing geothermal energy, yes. For those of you who have been confusing the different type of resources, I hope that you have clarity now. Why do you think it is important for humans to study renewable and non-renewable resources? Why is it important for humans to study about renewable and non-renewable resources? Bauxite, marble, very good. Oil, limestone, petroleum, energy, all of those, yes, you're correct. All of those are examples of non-renewable resources. Now, why do you think it is important for humans to study renewable and non-renewable resources? We know what are renewable resources, what are non-renewable resources, we know the examples, but why do we need to study them? Study about renewable and non-renewable resources. Things that cannot be replaced or reused, it is important so that we do not overuse our resources and we can ration them out correctly. Very good, Elizabeth. I love that answer. So that they will understand how it should be used in order to prevent wastage and in proper use. Very good. Because it helps us to conserve and preserve our resources. Very good answers. I love these answers. And there is a term, I'm looking for that term that you use when you talk about not overusing our resources and being rational about their uses. There's a term that we use for that about not preventing wastage and improper use. There's a term that we use for conserving and preserving our resources. What what is that word? Over exploitation. All right, that is correct, but that's correct, Geneva. But I was looking for this term. It starts with S. So this term means not wasting or overusing our resources, but trying to preserve them or conserve them for future use or for future generation. And the term starts with the letter S. Very, very, very good, Shipiva. Shipiva, that's the term I am looking for. Not surplus, I am looking for sustainability. Very good. That is the word that I'm looking for. So it is important to study renewable and non-renewable resources since it allows us, and your answers are correct. That's the answer I also have, to conserve and preserve our resources for future generation. And the correct word that I'm looking for is sustainability. All right. Now, I am not going to, let me look at the broadly sustainable development and use of natural. Okay, so this is good. We're on the right track. No, I wasn't going to look at the use of natural resources, but since it is on the broad list, let us see how much of them I can touch on. All right, let us look at. All right, land is easy. Quickly, what are some of the uses of land? Quickly, let us see how quickly we can go through them. What are some of the uses of land? What are some of the uses of land? Agriculture, very good. And students answer quickly. This one is an easy one. You're in the CXC and they ask you to list three uses of land. What will you write? Building, very good. Housing and mining, very good. All right. Next, I want to ask you misuse of the land. How does humans misuse land? Quickly, how does humans misuse land? Farming would be very much correct. It comes under agriculture. Or tell me two ways humans misuse land. Monday's a holiday. Okay, great. Yes, yes. Monday would, Monday's a holiday. Deforestation, very good. Cutting down the trees for housing and building infrastructure and building lands, building roads, etc. Over mining, very good. Land pollution, slashing and burning. These are the answers that I have. Overplanting, slash and burn methods. These are called poor farming techniques that humans use to misuse the land. Overmining of materials, very good. No, in your exam, CXC is asking you, write two. All right, so the teachers are a little noisy. I hope that you are hearing me clearly, students. So CXC is asking you to write two ways that we can conserve land in the Caribbean. Write two ways that we can conserve land in the Caribbean. What will be your answer? We know that land is an important resource, physical resource. What are two ways that we can conserve the land in the Caribbean? Two ways that we can conserve land in the Caribbean. Preventative health care, okay. So another name for primary health care is preventative health care. We can conserve land in the Caribbean. Dumping of garbage is one of the misuse of land. Very good. Now, how can we conserve the land? in the Caribbean. Replanting of vegetation after mining, very good. So after deforestation, after cutting down the trees, it is important that people or humans replant vegetation. Reforestation, yes, replanting of trees, crop rotation. So instead of using the poor farming techniques, the slash and burn and all of those, you can practice crop rotation. Starting recycling in our communities. I guess this will help to prevent pollution of the land. Zoning of areas. Yes, I'd give you the mark for zoning of areas as long as you could justify your answer. Why do you believe that zoning of areas will help to conserve the land? All right. Whenever they're asking you about strategies, oh, this is yes, Geneva. This was what I was going to say. Whenever they're asking you about strategies to conserve any resource, whether land, water, forest, whatever the resource is, two sure strategies that you could write is implementation of laws and strict penalties. You could also have education. So if you educate citizens about the importance of conserving the land, importance of land, this will help to conserve the land. If the government implements strict policies, strict laws, and sanctions, this will prevent persons from misusing the land. Practice crop rotation in agriculture, yes. Do not use a lot of chemical fertilizers. Very good. Do not use a lot of chemical. Yes, that's correct. All right. Let me look at my next topic. You could also have controlling logging. So maybe there can be a season or a time period where humans or persons are allowed to do logging, and there's a cutoff time when all logging should cease. So if the government can control logging, this will ensure that only a few mature trees are removed from forested areas. Now, forest, let us look at the role of the forest quickly. What are some of the roles of the forest? And because we do not know what the questions will be, the broad topic is that we look at the we looked at the uses of natural resource. We have to look at some of them because we do not know which natural resource they will be focusing on. So, what are some of the roles of the forest? And I'm going to end the live shortly. Furniture, yes, to build furniture for medical remedies, to promote rainfall, very good. To prevent flooding, for ecotourism, to prevent soil erosion, to reduce noise pollution, for recreation. The forest is used for logging. This I would prefer to do the marathon on Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday before exam because Monday is the day before my history exam. But it's up to you and the rest of the students. All right, so I am seeing Monday, Tuesday, or even Wednesday for the marathon. The rest of you can give your date. Let me see which day you would like to have the marathon. I think I'll be home Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I could also do it on a Saturday. I could do it on a Sunday. So you can just type your day, which day you will prefer. All right. So we look at the roles of the forest. And again, if they ask you, oh, can the forest be conserved? Two short answer that you can write is legislation, strict penalties, and educating citizens about the importance of the forest. Sunday, all right. So uses of water, that's another easy question. If you are given that history also. All right, so Uses of water. It's another easy topic. Water used to sustain life. Water is used as a solvent. Water provides food, recreation, transportation. Water as a cooling agent. If they ask you, okay, you can conserve water, that's another easy answer that you can write. So anywhere, government can prevent water wastage by the installation of water meters. Consumers should turn off taps when not in use and repair leaking taps. So those are easy topics that you can do. And water pollution, that's another easy topic that you can look at. Most likely they will ask you to list causes of pollution, water pollution, land pollution, noise pollution. They'll ask about the causes, they will ask you about how it affects humans or how it affects the environment. And they will definitely ask you about action or strategies that you can use to prevent any type of pollution that they're giving you on the exam. One for it. I'm doing the indigenous people. Oh, okay. They could also ask you about the solutions to water pollution, and that is quite easy. So you'll be able to do that also. All right. So let me see if I should do Saturday would be good for me, miss. Let me see if I could do one more topic. No, I'm not going to do any more topics for today. The next topic will be the stages in the integration movement. So in another video, maybe tomorrow, we can look at the stages in the integration movement. We look at the objectives of the OECS, the CARICOM, and the CSMA, and we can also look at the benefits of regional integration. All right. So I think I'm going to stop here for today. So persons are saying Saturday would be good for me. Um, Saturday, Monday. I really need help with the regional integration. I know that, right? So regional integration is a challenging topic for students. I know. So some persons that would have received a grade one in their exam or a grade two, but because they did not attempt the regional integration question, which carries a total of 20 marks, we find that they get a grade three or even a grade four because they did not attempt that 20 marks. But I have a lot of videos. You can go over to my channel. I have a lot of videos on regional integration. You can make notes from those videos, not only watch the videos, but make notes from them. Look how I answer the questions, look at the answers that I have given, and make notes and study, right? I don't even know how to save the live, but I will try. I'm not sure. It's my first time doing this. I'm not sure how to save the live, but I'll see what will happen. Alright. If anybody knows how to save the live, you can put it in the comment section. Alright, so tomorrow, hopefully, I'm not sure what the day will be like tomorrow, but anytime I have the time, I'll try and do another live. You'll see the notification pop up once you have your notification on. I'll do another live tomorrow where we look at the regional integration topics on the broad list for CXC. All right, the marathon. Thank you very much, Miss. I'm very grateful. You're welcome, guys. Geneva, you're laughing at me. All right, so for the marathon, maybe I'll have to do it different days. I'll try to have one. I think I can do one on Saturday. I could also have another one on Sunday. Monday would be also good for me because Monday would be holiday. So Monday is also good for me. Tick the box for automatically make archive unlisted once the stream has ended. Okay. So Monday is good for me, Saturday is good for me, and Sunday is good for me also. So what I'll do, I'll post it in the community stream where persons can attend any one of the days that they wish. We'll see, although I've done most of the past paper questions on my video, but we'll see how much we can cover. We'll see how much we can cover in the marathon. Which year paper do you want us to start with for the marathon that I can prepare myself? Which year paper should we start with? And about which year paper do you want us to start with for the marathon? January 2022? I know, right? Paper one is quite easy comparing to paper two, because if you have been studying the multiple choice questions, you will find that they are repeating. But for the paper two, you'll have to do a lot of studying and writing and thinking about strategies and justification, etc. So procedure are saying January 2022 or June 2022. All right, so I'm going to start 2021. Let me see, 2021. Let me write them down somewhere. 2021, 2022, 2018. All right, so we're going to start at June 2016 to 2022. All right. All right, students, I have to go now. So we will continue tomorrow. Read up as much as possible on regional integration. I hope you guys are taking notes, right? That will assist you. And I know that you'll get that grade one, I'm sure, because I love the answers, how quick you are, quick thinking you are. And this shows that you are prepared for your examination. All right, take care, students. I will see you. No range for our one shall be increased. All right, bye, students. I have to go now. You're welcome. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yes, I'll help you guys to get a grade one. Just watch the videos, make notes from the different questions, as I said before. So even though I've given the question and the answers, you can make notes from the videos. All right, students, and hopefully during the marathon, we can cover as much as possible. All right, you can share, yeah, man, share the class with your fellow students, right? So that we can help everyone. Is do you know about paper three? I know that there's a paper three, but I have not been posting any videos on that paper. There's a paper three. Yes, paper three. It's for students who have not done the SBA. So maybe the school that you're attending, I will just post it in the community stream, and you'll see, get that notification there. All right, students. See you guys. Take care.